Hey, hopefully this short tutorial or build, should I say. I'm gonna make something for Halloween. So it's Halloween's coming up, so let's just make a little motion graphic. So let's get started. Ventuz is opening. Oh, I unplugged my hardware, did some changes to my config, so some of those errors are the same. You can't find us. About the webcam and stuff. Okay, so I got empty scene. What we want to do, grab an axis. I'm gonna create I want to create some kind of like skull graphic, motion graphic thing. We'll see. But let's create some of the elements first. So I'm gonna get an axis. You want to make an eyeball. So I'm gonna use a sphere. Let's scale this up. Let's say 5 for now. I want another axis, so they're parented to that. Actually, I'll reset this axis, so the scale factor, I'll just reset that back to 1, so it's back to its original, and then I'll use the parent to scale it up. And say something like 12 for now. Let's get another axis, drop it in. And geometry, let's use a circle. Okay, we're going to scale the circle up so it's just slightly bigger actually than the sphere, so you can see the outer rim there. Okay, so what we're going to do is make this sphere look like it's blinking. And how we're going to do that, we're going to use stencils. So if we use a stencil, and we've got test and set, we want to use these test. And on the other one we've got set. They might be the wrong way around, we'll see in a second. So select both of these, set them to layer 1. There you go. So now we've got them the wrong way around. So easily what we could do is we can swap these nodes around, or we can swap these objects around. So I can just push the circle up here and put the sphere in the test. Now you can't see anything because if I move this circle, you can see it's masking. That's great, because that's what we want it to do. We want it to make it look like that. So we want to make it look like it's blinking. So as I rotate, now it looks like we've got a blinking eye. So I'm changing the rotation on the x-axis. Now we've got this blinking eye by just doing a mask. That's cool, right? Now what I could do is hold control, take the sphere, control and drag it behind, scale this one down. Like so. There we go. And now we've got a nice eyelid, and then this mask behind it. So as this reveals, you got this kind of cool eyelid. We can apply some materials to this just to make it a bit more cooler. So what I'm going to do is apply a solid color. I want solid colors. Make it like a 2D graphic but using 3D elements. So apply a solid color to all of these. Okay, so we're happy with that. Now let's color the eyelid black. Oh, the circle mask doesn't actually. This doesn't need a material because it's the mask. This doesn't need a material. I'll just make that black. So now if I do this, got this blinking action, and so that's kind of cool. And we'll get the eyeball and the pupil working in a second. But for now, that looks cool, right? I'm happy with that. So let's reset this X to 0 for now. We'll put a mover on this so it does the blinking. So this is the eyeball. We can call this actual eyeball, the whole axis. Eyeball. Okay. Let's create a pupil. So what we could do is use the sphere. Actually, we don't even need a sphere, to be honest. We could use a circle. So I'm just going to drag a circle so you can keep it flat, because you can't tell the difference, to be honest. You won't be able to tell the difference. You still get the same effect because we're using like a flat. So I'll use a circle. So that's the I don't know what you call the white part. Anyway, of your eyeball, and then we'll scale this one down. Change the color to black. Scale it down. Change the Z so it's forward by 1, so minus 0.1, so it doesn't clip into the other one. So we don't have the clipping when we rotate the graphic. Okay, and we want to duplicate again. Change this to white now, so, and change the scale slightly smaller. Okay, something like this. Cool. And maybe I'll put it in the top corner. You can position this how you want. Now I want to parent these to an axis. So parent this and parent this. Okay. Now I might scale this down slightly smaller. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I mean something like that. Maybe that's a bit bigger. Okay. So let's say I want this to move around to look like, it's looking left or right or whatever. I'm going to just take, say, these values here. I might keyframe these instead, rather than, and then use a mover to control the keyframe. So I go animation, keyframe animation, take the X and Y position, go to your timeline, set a key, the starting point if you want, or the end point, doesn't matter. I'll start with the end point here, so I'll set a key, that's where it ends, and our starting point can be 0. There we go. We can set a key. So now I could loop this going back and forth. Now let's make it a bit more interesting. So let's animate this little reflection, or this little highlight here on the eyeball. So let's add that into the animation. So let's take the X and the Y position, set its current position as it is, and maybe here it kind of rolls a little bit down, not all the way to the center, but just slightly off the center. I don't know, just there we go, give it something cool. So you got this kind of eyeball that we can have. So I'll call this pupil, I think yes, you call it pupil, this animation. And then I'll go to toolbox, use the simple control, drag the control to the simple, and then I'll take a mover, drop the mover in, simple progress, so the progress goes to the mover. We know it's 0 to 100, and we got on swing. Now you can play around with the linear or the sine or cosine, and then change the speed. There you go, maybe sine. There you go. So we've got the pupil working. So let's get the blinking working. So we know we want to go. This is our blinking, see, and it still works, which is quite cool. So we want it to blink. So we want the mover, and we want to say, I don't want a full eye, the eyeball to be fully open. Should I say? So let's say minus 42 to minus 90. So take the X value to the mover, minus 42 to minus 90. Now we've got this blinking going on. Now you can slow this down, of course. However, I want to pause, so I would like a pause in there. So the one way you could solve this, you could keyframe this, and then have like the blink and then a pause, and then use this the same way we done this mover, so animation in that. Or you can do it another way. There's so many ways you can do it. So you can have a mover, have it on one shot, so every 3 seconds. I mean, it takes, so maybe it's the animation's quick, but we have another mover. So if I grab another mover, and this triggers every 3 seconds, so he blinks every 3 seconds, the eyeball will blink. So if I take the nudge to this, now every 3 seconds it blinks. Now the blinking, so you got a little pause, and then we can offset this and change the speeds and stuff. So it's kind of cool. So I'll call this mover blinking, and then blink speed. Okay, and this one is the eyeball the pupil, so you can call that pupil speed or something, you know. Cool. So what I'm gonna do is actually keep the axis outside. I'm gonna get a group, so go world, go to group, place this just in front of the axis so everything's parented to that group, or that eyeball, and then let's just merge this to a container. Okay, so we have an eyeball. Nice. Yeah, you can delete that inside the group because it's already it's already contained now as a group. And now we've got this eyeball. We can move around. We can move around the screen. And you get this kind of cool effect. It kind of works. So you can put it to the left. It still blinks. There you go. You can scale it and all sorts. Now, if we go into, say here, the reason I made it into container, I named my movers and stuff for this one. So I can just go in here, change the speed, so expose the pupil speed. So if I go out here now, pupil speed, and then I've got duration. And the same for the blinking. I mean, if I go to the blinking here, I can expose the duration here. And I can also expose the offset if I want. And you can do the same on that. So you can expose whatever you need. So if you want to change the colors or expose the colors, you can expose those colors out. So if you wanted that to be red or white or blue, you know, you can expose that base color out and it will be exposed here. So I won't go too far into that. I'll let you customize your own eyeball and build whatever you need. So let's start putting together, make a graphic or something out of this, a bit more interesting. So we've got this eyeball, right? And let's just scale it down. So it might need Photoshop. So what I want to do is open up Photoshop. I also want to Google. Go to Google. Let's get a skull graphic. Okay, let's go to images and see what we can get. Let's find something cool that we can work with. You could use, that's kind of cool. I want it like this will hold the eyeballs in it, so I want to use like a container almost. I mean, I don't know what kind of skull. I mean, this will do. I mean, we can use that as simple shape or that. Let's see. Where does this take me? I think this one's kind of cool, but I'd have to connect those lines. But this one looks kind of cool. Or this one, you can have a side view. We've got more space, but I like this one. So I'm just, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna print screen it. Print screen. Oh, don't even need to use print screen. I could just use snippet. Snipping tool. New. And then snip that. There we go. You can save this as on your desktop, capture, or just scroll, or whatever you want. This is just a reference. I'm going to draw over the top of it for a pen tool. Okay. If we don't, yeah. I mean, I don't mind using that one, but I like that one, and I like the other one. Whereas the other one I saw. This one, I like this one too. I think this one was nicer, but more basic. Hey. Anyway, let's go create new 1920 1080. That's fine. This is we can treat this like a canvas size almost. Let's open up that texture on my desktop that I saved. This one is our reference. Okay. Sorry, I've got a running nose or something, I don't know. Anyway, so you can see that reference is way too small. Just scale it up, make it nice and big. There we go. So this is just a reference. This isn't. We're going to create a new layer. A little bit of Photoshop. If you don't have Photoshop, I think you can use something like GIMP. It'll do. You can do the exact same thing. It's got similar tools. Let's find the pen tool. If I can find the pen tool, and the pen tool is hidden. There it is. It's just out of my sights. There we go. Okay. So we're just gonna draw around with the pen tool. I'll just press Alt. Draw the shape kind of this skull. Doesn't need to be perfect. If we want, we can spend time doing this, but that looks like my skull. There we go. Don't worry too much if you're not tracing it exactly. Now when you get to something like this issue here, what I'll normally do, just knock down the fill. It allows you to see through it. There, hold Alt. Now whether I want to have two separate joints or I'll just have one piece, it's fine. But actually, let's make it more interesting. So rather than, I'm going to just undo what I just did. Maybe I'll just have half the skull rather than we have this. We can have an interesting shape or something, you know, rather than it just being this. It'll just be a bit more interesting. So sorry for that. So you have to watch me do this, but yeah, I mean, I'm just making it up as I go along. Something like that. So it's an more interesting shape. This is part of design anyway. We have an idea, we're doing something, and then say, maybe we can do this, and then you have like multiple versions, you know. Nice. I'll probably build something like 100 times before I get to the final version. I can tell you one project I did, like I think there were 200 versions of the interface before I actually done it. I'd like rebuild, start again, rebuild, start again, rebuild. Yeah. Anyway, let's reduce that fill. Okay. We've got nice solid shape there. Now you can change the color of that. Then you have the black. I mean, I might want to put. I'm tempted to put in just the shape of the eyes, just to block them in. Yeah. Or cut them out. Yeah, I'll cut them out. That's fine. So I'll duplicate this. So I'll keep my original. I'm just going to flatten this one. Make sure before I flatten it, put this back 200. Flatten. And then I'll just use the pen tool again to make the eyes on top. New layer. Nothing perfect, don't have to be exact or precise, look at it. You know. And then maybe I'll do the nose here. And then that little eye over there. Actually, I'm glad I went for this one. This one seems a bit more interesting, the skull. Anyway, so I got those three shapes. I'm just going to merge those down, Control E. If I Control select that, does it? I'm still seeing it as a shape, so I'll Shift Control E. So now it's one there. It's not a shape anymore. I'm just going to use that, cut into this one. If I delete that, now you'll see. I mean, if I turn that layer off, now you see we just got that shape. That's cool. Okay. So that's going to be our skull. or a reference, and we're gonna have the eyeballs, or say, floating in this. So this is like a container. So I mean, yeah, that's kind of cool. I think that'll be a cool graphic. And then we can do just add maybe a stroke. Let's add a stroke on there. A stroke. You can choose whatever color you want. I'll go for white. Something like that. I think maybe I'll fill this in with what I took out, so that'll be our graphic. So that black space there, now we need to make transparent in Ventuz. So we want all this white stuff, but we don't want the black. So what I'm going to do is now duplicate, Control J, Control E. So that's my graphic. I've still got my original ones if I need to go back and edit those. This is all flattened now into 1. I'll just get the 1. Magic 1. Delete the black hair. There we go. So now that's going to be empty space. Yeah. Now I'm thinking, do I want that? Oh no, I can use a second texture of the alpha of this. That's fine. So actually we've got image, trim, transparent pixels, bam. Okay, so we've got this. Let's save this as our texture. So I'm experimenting now, so I might do something wrong, I might not. I'm gonna save this as a PNG. Call this skull 1. Okay, I'm gonna duplicate this layer. Control J, and then just Control U. And I'm just going to turn this to white for now. Just want to see if this is going to work or not. PNG white. I might not even need to do that, but I'll just save that as a white as well. Okay, so now you can go to your desktop if you want. So you can go desktop or wherever you saved it. Drag that texture in, which is this one here, and bam, this is our image. You're gonna need to add an axis to that, and you need to apply it to some geometry. So in this case, it will be a rectangle. Yeah. Scale this up, and you might notice it's a bit distorted, so you can adjust the scaling and the color. Change the lighting model to no light. Change the X a little bit. So happy with it. Okay, I think something like that looks kind of cool. Push it to the top of the scene. There we go. Now I'm gonna push it back, just slightly back. Just say 3. Okay, so this eyeball, let's move this in, scale this down so it fits within there. There we go. Now we've got an eyeball. Perhaps it's too big. Let's see. Let's make it a bit smaller. Something like this. And I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to have multiple ones. So I have one here, another one here, another one. You can as many as you want. Right. I'm not sure if I should have this now because I've got less space. But I might go back into Photoshop and just adjust that. Yeah, I'm going to definitely go into Photoshop and adjust this eyeball here, you know, but we'll see. I mean, it doesn't, you can even fill that in, you know, don't need to go back into Photoshop, just leave that there or something, just as a big eyeball. There you go. Anyway, you can have a few more. And what we're gonna do is just have a mover and just have them bouncing around inside, so to make it look like it's bouncing within the space of the texture. So you can take the first axis, go mover, and say this one's kind of rocking around or something like this. I don't know. So there you go. Can be whatever you want. Change the speed. There you go. And then this one, I'll get another mover. I'll do the same on the X. So right now it's going to be a bit funny. Reduce that value there. But instead of just going X on the X-axis, what I want to do is add another mover on this one and take the Y. So now the Y, so that's going like a diagonal speed. And then of course you can change the distance. Make sure it doesn't clash with another one. Slow it down as well. There you go. And you got a completely different animation. Really easily, you know, it looks like it's bouncing around. And of course you can slow this one down. There you go. And then maybe change this to like cosine or something, and this one to cosine. You know? And then you got some nice smooth animation. What I can actually do is, instead of me delete those three, because I've already got move on those two, take this one, existing one, Control Shift F, put that in the family, put this one in the family as well. There you go. So now they don't get so messy. Just drag that down. Now these ones, they'll have their own mover, and then all I have to do is just offset the X and the Y and the min and max. There you go. And then do the Y a little bit. There you go. And we just repeat that process, or you can just do this kind of cheat, duplicate those, and then have an axis in front of that. Maybe move those three as a group, and you know, rotate them a bit. There you go. Whatever you want, but yeah, something look like it's. I'm not sure about rotating them, but yeah, maybe we just offset them there, and then you just go in here and change those values again. Yeah, let's change that one. So that one's going a bit more dramatic, and this one's going up and down more, and a bit more to the left, less to the right. There you go. So you can see this one here is kind of going like in a weird circle almost. But yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you can tweak that. Now I'm thinking I wanna fill this in, so I do want to go into Photoshop. I mean, I've already got this. I've got this. What am I talking about? That's over the white version. Oh yeah. So let's just go into the white version. And desktop. Load that one in. There we go. And then just change the color to black. But before I do that, I'm going to duplicate this. So I've got a duplicate of it. Change this one to black. Click on the base color, black, and then the duplicated one, push it back by a point so it doesn't clash, and then scale it up. You have a little border almost. Might have to change the scale a tiny bit, but there you go. It's not perfect, but hey, saves you from going back into Photoshop. Okay, so what I can do now is maybe I want to just group all of these as in under one axis again, like that, and I can scale those down or up depending, doesn't matter. Okay, now they all look a bit too similar, so what you can do is just go and change some of the scale on some of them, make some big, make some small, you know, just have a variation in size. And then you can also change the speeds, maybe some are slower, you know, maybe the bigger ones are slower than the you know, than the smaller ones. You can offset that. There you go. Of course, you could do some particle system if you wanted, but I'm not going to do any of that. Just simple. Keep it simple. Now I don't like the frame on that. I'm gonna delete that one and go back to Photoshop. I'll just fix it in Photoshop. Give me 2 seconds. I'll just go back to this one. So this original one here, and just fill this in. Now you can just use a brush or a paint bucket and, you know, bam, fill that in. Might fill that in too. There you go. Doesn't it just have a cleaner border? I've got a slight bit of, little bit of white here. There we go. Save this. Mean G. I'll just call that sculpt 2. Okay. Go back to Ventuz. Load that texture back in. Desktop. 2. Make sure the color set back to white, the base color. There you go. I think it's a little bit cleaner. There we go. Might make that slightly bigger. Now let's change this background color because this doesn't stand out as much. So what you can do is just go to the gradient or add a solid color. Go for solid color. And just change that color here in the properties. You can choose whatever color you want. Go for like a desaturated color or something, so it's not too bright, but you like a purpley blue. I don't know. But yeah, experiment. Be creative. Anyway, let's go back into our layer. You can change that color anytime you want. So maybe I want to add, like I've done before on other videos, I've done like a liquidy thing in this. So maybe I want to kind of add some. Try one little thing. I might be able to trick it using geometry. Yeah. Bam. Scale that up. Push it back. Scale it up again. Squeeze it in. Okay. Something like that. Okay, and then let's add a color solid to that. Okay, doesn't need to be. Don't worry too much about it. Change that, and then make it bigger. Go on here, texture, purling noise. Why did I do that? Okay, change the amount. Change the amount here. You can change some of these settings or whatever you want. I'm gonna change that amount down. Scale this down. Distort it a little bit. It's not gonna be perfect, but kind of works. It will kind of work what I wanted to do. You know, just make that bit. That bit there should be white, because if this is the liquid layer here, then I need to go edit this texture here. So what I need to do is go bam bam bam, go to my texture, which is this one, and add some white in there. So how am I going to do this? I do not know. Okay, go here, bam, Control J, Control U, make that white, hit the marquee tool, delete anything under that. Okay. In G, let's go 3. Okay. Go in here, reload that textures, go 3. There we go. Now I'll move this, so we can delete this water texture. Ignore the water texture. We're using geometry. I gave up on that. I did do it in another tutorial, another video where I had to use the water texture, but it was a bit harder to mask. I'm gonna just scale this down a little bit. And move this up. There we go. Maybe make this. You can even make this different color if you want. I don't know. You can go green or orange, whatever you want. Kind of like that green. Now it does go out of the lines a little bit. We'll try to fix that when we use. But click on the animate and move or something. You can use anything. I'll just choose 360, whatever. Go crazy. Pop this out so we can have it in our content window. Change the speed. I don't know, 500. Right now it's going to let's put it on swing. Change that speed. So I have it like about, let's say 7, 0 to 7, it's about 70. I have some kind of movement there. I can kind of squish this up and down. Try to make it look like that surface is it's just an illusion, but trying to make it look like that torus, trying to make it look like it's liquid at the top. And those eyeballs are floating around. There we go. Not perfect, but yeah, this is kind of there. I think the grey works better. Like a grayscale thingy. Can even rotate this? I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to scale stuff. Let me reset everything. Okay, rotate like that. 90. Push it up. Push it back. And just scale it in the on the Z in the Z. There we go. And then slowly scale it up. And then shift it to the right. There we go. That'll do. That'll do. It's very subtle, but you got your eyeballs moving. Now we can do is go back into eyeballs. I'll just duplicate this group here. Just offset that group. Just make them, scale them down a little bit. Put them in this area here. There you go. So you just have a few more. Okay, so I spent way too long on that. Way too long. Okay, I should have had some little popping effects or some popping, you know, pops. Just trying to make that. So I'm gonna axes, rectangle. Let's go that rectangle up. Just push it to the side here. Okay. Put a color on this. Solid color, of course. Solid color. Actually, I might want to use a rounded rectangle, so I'll just delete that rectangle and use a rounded rectangle. Okay, change the scale alignment to bottom, so we can scale it from like that. Or something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens, and we might not have to do anything. Okay, get the spreader. World spread. In there. Let's increase that count. Something like this. There we go. So kind of, we're gonna be a little. We're gonna make a little animation using the spreader and this. Okay, so let's increase that count. Say 7 seems to be a good number. Okay, 7 will do. I'm gonna do is merge this to a container. So I'm gonna keep this, I don't know, like a spark, whatever you want to call it. There's so many ways to do this. I'm just trying to do it a cheap way, but a quick way. Okay, I'm gonna make the things a little bit thinner. Okay, I'm gonna get keyframe animation, so I'm gonna keyframe this. Keyframe animation. I want to keyframe. You've seen me moving the X position, so from the center, so it kind of goes out. And then, so take the X, and now I want to take the color, and take the opacity, and just get keyframe that too. Go to my timeline. My starting position would be 0. My alpha will be at 0, so there's nothing there. Go to like half a second, and it's like pow. That's at 100, and then maybe that's like here. So it's bam, and then it carries on a little bit and goes to 0. Set key, and then yeah, just maybe slightly offset that. And you see that X position value? Maybe I don't need that middle keyframe, so it doesn't. There you go. So you just have that. There you go. Nothing fancy. And I want this. I want another keyframe here because I want this to be brighter. I want this to be at 100% when it comes in. There you go. Okay, so we've got the spark kind of working. We can go in here. You can add a simple control if you want. Oh, let me lock that. Simple control. And a mover. Okay. 0 to 100. Take swing off. Yeah. Take 1.5. Okay, and now I don't want it to be like bam 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 straight after, so again, like I did with the other one, I'll just use another mover, change that mover to one shot, and then take the nudge to that. Now I could say every 3 seconds. Or every 5 seconds. Let's see. Every 12 seconds. Okay, so that seems about okay. I'm going to expose the duration and that offset on that one. So now what I can do is put an axis on that. I wouldn't recommend doing this, but because it's just one graphic, not very intense. Turn the bounding box on so I can see where it is. There it is. Position that somewhere here. There we go. And then I'll just duplicate that, move this around, change the offset. Do another one, put one up here maybe. One more, let's do one more. Put it down here somewhere. It's hard to see, but it's kind of guessing with this bounding box where it's going to come from. It's like this is kind of offset here, so I guess it's thrown here, and this is, yeah. If I want that one there, then just shift this off there. Yeah, there you go. And now you can change those offsets, play around with that. There you go. Simple graphic. I mean, it's ignore like what I was trying to do there with the water layer. I mean, it's not perfect. I would like to go back and work on that, but yeah. Alright, for now, I just kind of done what I needed to do to get the graphic working. So in Access, you can put all this in a group if you want. Now you can, like, you know, scale it up or down. Could even be like an animated mouse. But anyway, simple 2D graphic, nothing fancy, nothing special to be honest, but yeah, just showing you how you can create graphics in here without too much work. You know, you do need a little bit of Photoshop, but not much. Let's go for green, Halloween green. I like this kind of. The orange kind of works well as well. Anyway, what you can do is duplicate that if I want. Now you got this, because when you go off, you got this perspective thing. So what you could do, if you get a camera, put it in the scene right at the top, where it says field of view. You can turn it to orthogonal, and then, you know, I'll just change that width. There's more flat and white. I guess the Z doesn't work, so you just scale this down now. Should probably be better, because then I can adjust that torus and small flat one. Maybe I have to ask different bit quicker, I don't know. Kind of just play around with the colours, but hey. That'll do for now. Doesn't need to be perfect, but hey, there you go. I'll just have another one there. Again, I'll just adjust that a little bit. There we go. I could have done that as well, that's kind of cool. The rotation on that. whatever you want. Anyway, I'll call it end here. Right, you can go put in your post effects and all sorts, you know, like always. You got extra additional effects you want to add on top, color grading, or, whatever you want. Or the cool thing you can do is you can put this in a whole group. So say you want to create a group, put this in the group like so, and put your background in the group and apply effects onto the whole thing, so you don't have to place to multiple layers. That's nice. You can nest your groups. And you know what one I'm going to use, right? Barrel. I like the barrel effect. There you go. I'll just shift those in a little bit more so they don't. Ooh. There you go. And nothing needs to be perfect, but hey, just messing around. There you go. You can make it ball gel or whatever you want. Now you can do color grading, or you could change that to grey. Grayscale. I like the grey. Red only, or whatever you know. Sorry. Color correction. What we got? Edge detection. That looks kind of cool. You can get some cool effects like that. They kind of look. The eyeballs look cool, and that with the luma, with the edge detection. Now I'm just kind of playing around, but go for like a pixelated look, pixelated effect, you know. Of course you'll have to make your graphics a lot bigger. So for example, this one could be bigger, so then it's got this like arcade effect. Yeah, definitely have a play, you know. Experiment. You can play around with this offset of the RGB and all sorts. Maybe I'm not happy with this color, you know. I just want to go back to that. But there you go. Hopefully some use. And thank you again. I'll try to make another video soon. You can see I'm still tweaking around with it. I'm kind of, I'll be like here all day. Yeah. But yeah, just I thought it'd be just make something a bit more fun. Not fun, but everything is fun. But you know, something different. Blur. Well, the default. Yeah, little vignette. Be as simple as just adding a vignette to your thing. There you go. Alright, thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your day, morning, evening, night. Bye bye.